how's it going? I'm Jenny.
KB here.
And today we are going to talk to you all about why we think that Vi and Caitlyn make such good partners and a good team. Yeah. So we're going to first talk about them in terms of like combat and their little league of justice. Not to be confused with Justice League. And
some kind of League of Legends.
Some kind of League of Legends. And then we're gonna talk about them as a romantic couple. How cute. Yeah. So the first thing, and we have notes over here, that's what she's staring at.
Need some notes.
Okay, so the first thing, blueberry powder. That's a different note. It says blueberry powder.
You're looking at the wrong notes. Hold on 1 second. Let me cover these notes. There you go.
And then some blueberry powder.
Something else entirely different.
Grocery shopping. Okay, anyway, so the first thing we talk about is the fact that Caitlyn is more of a planner.
Mm-hmm. Her mindset.
Yeah.
If you saw, like, her board on the floor, not on a wall, on the floor, and you saw all the connections she made, you would know she's a planner.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Vi tends to be more impulsive. Like, I think that they both have a little bit of both.
They do.
But it's just, Caitlyn tends to be definitely more of a planner. And you can see that, especially when Vi is showing Caitlyn around the lanes. And Caitlyn keeps being like, well, what's the plan? What are we going to do? Especially when they're in the brothel.
Yeah.
And she asks Vi, like, what's the plan here?
Why are we here?
Yeah. She keeps trying to figure out, like, what her plan is. And Vi really, she did know to go to Jericho's and to get the tip. Mm-hmm. But she didn't know what was coming after she got that tip. Like, she didn't really have a big, like, elaborate idea of plan.
No.
She was just going from one thing to the next to the next. And following the breadcrumbs as she went. So I think that in that way they complement each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That Caitlyn's good at coming up with ideas and plans, and Vi is like, she's like, let's do it, let's adapt.
Yeah,
She's very, very adaptive.
Yeah, she is.
Mm-hmm.
She is. And then she has a plan though. And Pim walks by.
But it seems like she came up with it on the spot.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
And then she's her way of ditching Caitlyn, which interestingly enough, when we first watched it,
we're not gonna talk about that in this video. I told you.
We can a little bit.
No.
It's kind of interesting.
No, we'll make another video talking about it, but I'll just say quickly that when I first watched Arcane, I had no idea from beginning to end of the whole show that Vi had tried to ditch Caitlyn at the brothel. I had not even the slightest clue. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a different video. It's not the topic of this one. But yes, she does then and there like come up with an idea like, oh, well I can kind of give her what she wants being a lead.
Yeah.
And it seems like that was when she came up with it anyway. Because obviously she was there for the greater purpose of having that tip.
Yeah, definitely.
To go over there and talk to her. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Caitlyn, planner, Vi, good at like coming up with things off the bat in the moment. Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then another example of that too was when they were at Vi's old house, when Caitlyn gave Vi the potion and then Silco came.
Yeah, Silco came.
And then Caitlyn came up with a plan.
Yeah, so she found out that the structure itself, when she was leaning up against it after that little moment, and she's like, oh, this is wobbly. It was good she found that out, though.
Yeah, she figured out... Yeah, she kept, like, accidentally leaning on it, and it was wobbly.
Yeah.
But then, while Silco was there, she was trying.
Yeah,
so she came up with the plan of, like, let me try and use this structural, like, problem to help us get out of this bad situation. But she wasn't able to do it.
No.
And then Vi saw the plan through.
Yeah, like, at first she's like this, like, you talk too much. And then she turns and she goes like this.
And you're like, yeah!
They're working together for the first time! It's beautiful! No words are spoken.
Yeah, well, like, actively.
Yeah.
I mean, because it does seem like they're working together. Like, Caitlyn's, like, saving her ass.
Well, yeah.
Before that. So, like, Caitlyn's working with her.
But it's so cool that Vi actually, like, picks that up. Because normally, Vi gets her fists up like this, and she says, you talk too much. It's going to be a beatdown.
Mm-hmm. She just runs in.
Yeah. But this time, she's like, oh, hang on a second. I've got an idea, because what you're doing could work. And, yeah it does. It, like, the whole structure.
So she's, like, helps Caitlyn see her plan through.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So that's how it kind of comes together, the two of them.
I like that moment.
Yeah.
Did you notice that the first time?
I noticed. I noticed what was happening, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh, Vi's working with Caitlyn for the first time. I didn't really have that, because like it seemed to kind of like, okay, when I first watched it, I didn't realize how much Vi was also just like messing with Caitlyn. I did not realize that either. I was like, oh, she's just like trying to like get under her nerves. But I didn't realize like how much she was lying to her about everything until afterwards.
Dude, when she said that Powder did that when she was 7, I was like, no, she didn't.
I didn't think about that. You know, I thought that she was just giving her a hard time. I was like, oh, because Powder, to her credit, she did parkour. She didn't do it well. But she did parkour when she was 7, I'm sure. She was learning at that age. Yeah. Whereas Caitlyn probably didn't parkour. So I didn't really think of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, like, you have to pay really close attention to even realize that Vi is, like, getting a tip.
Yeah.
From the guy. Anyway, this is a whole different... We're digressing again. But yeah, I did not notice how much she was messing with her.
I was just curious.
Yeah. So then, what else? Also, they went down, when they went to the council. Yes, that's another Caitlyn being a planner moment, where she says, as Vi's leaving, she's like, oh, let's make another plan, let's make a plan. Yeah, she's like, let's make a plan. And Caitlyn, and Vi is just like, nah, I'm just gonna go beat people up. Her plan is to beat people up, basically.
Her plan is to get the hell out of there.
So she's not as strategic, which makes sense. She hasn't had to play, like, political games. Like, not that Caitlyn plays political games, but she's been around it at least.
Yeah, of course.
And Vi hasn't. So she's kind of like, hey, let's make an intellectual plan. And Vi was like, the only plan I have is to go and, like, beat up on some people that have caused some damage. Yeah. So that's another instance of, Caitlyn being the planner and Vi being more impulsive. Yeah. Not that she doesn't also plan. Another plan that she had was when she went and talked to Jace.
Yes.
And she says, oh, here's my plan. And I was like, Vi is smart.
Yeah.
She is. And I mean, it could be too that she learned already a little bit from Caitlyn to be a little more strategic in her idea to go after the Shimmer Factory.
Yeah.
That I was like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
She is smart too, but I think it's just that, like, they both have those qualities. However, it's just more predominant. Being a planner is more predominant in Caitlyn. Being impulsive and just getting in and getting things done is more predominant in Vi.
Well, it's also too because she's also, like, you know, she has her sniper rifle. She has a kind of plan where she's gonna hit.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a lot more involved than going and punching someone in the face. Not that you have to be strong to do that, but yeah. So Caitlyn's a little bit more on the patient side for certain things, and some things she's just not as patient.
Yeah,
which is interesting, actually.
Yeah. They made, like, I feel like they made the character so realistic in that way.
Yeah, they did.
It's not like, oh, you're just this type of person and you just do this, and oh, you're just this type of person, you just do this.
There's a lot of layers.
Which there's something funny too about, like, Vi being more impulsive, which after watching the show, I got on, like, Facebook groups to do with Arcane, and everyone kept talking about how Vi was stupid. And I was like, why do they keep saying Vi is stupid? I don't understand. And then, you explained to me that you're like, oh, it's just that she's more so impulsive.
Yeah.
So that's what people mean. Because all the time I'm like, we joke about this all the time. Like, when we see Vi do anything, I'm like, is this why people think she's stupid? Is this why?
Is this why?
Artwork, is this why?
Yeah. Well, it's because people think impulsive people don't tend to think, so therefore they're stupid. But they can think. It's just that, you know, Vi would rather just go about her way by punching things a lot. When she was a young teenager too, though, she never really, she had a plan, obviously, to get to Jace's place, you know.
Yeah. That's a plan.
That's a plan.
But, like, how much did she stake out the plan before?
Don't
you
know
know what I mean?
We don't know.
It doesn't seem like she did.
No.
She just got a tip and went for it.
Yeah.
And that's then, not that they could have expected everything to go badly like it did. But, yeah. But it does make them a good team.
It does.
Because Caitlyn can plan things, and to Vi's credit, she can make them happen.
She can.
She sees them through. And she also moves things along by being like, hey, I'm willing to get in there and fight, rather than just sit at home and come up with a plan.
Yeah, which is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see what else. So, also they grow to trust each other.
Definitely.
So, in the beginning, it's real obvious that they didn't trust each other. That's another thing that we're saying makes them good, like in combat, is the fact that they do trust each other. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe for the point for Vi to start to trust Caitlyn was partly when she first saved her some Sabika.
I agree.
That was the first part of it. And then she still was snacky with her, of course, you know, and things like that. But then it started to grow. When do you think Caitlyn started to trust Vi?
I think it was earlier. I think it was in the brothel, which is interesting because she did try to ditch her.
That's
but
true.
Caitlyn is, like, very self-assured. So I feel like that's probably why she wasn't so bothered by it.
That's true.
But I think that she started to realize how honest Vi is.
Yeah, and she was definitely a lot more ease. When you first saw her, like, in the brothel, she's like this. And then even though Vi is circling her like a shack, she's, like, following her and she's, like, more chill.
And she, like, in a sarcastic way, she goes, you know what your problem is? And, like, you know, if someone was being a little more combative, they'd be like, what do you mean what my problem is? And she asked, like, what? I don't remember how she asked it. It's in, like, I know it's in, like, a snarky way.
Oh, yeah, it was sarcastic, and it was wonderful.
And she's like, oh, yeah, what's my problem?
Please tell me.
Oh, please tell me. Yeah, and she wasn't like, oh, shove off, don't tell me I have a problem. She's like, oh, please tell me, you know, in a sarcastic way. But she still did say, like, oh, tell me. And I think that she's like, looking at Vi, listening to Vi, and taking what she says seriously.
And then she's not so sarcastic when she says, what do I have?
Yeah, she's like, what do I have? Like, she's asking, she's interested. Yeah. And then she uses Vi's plan to go and, like, start talking into some chick. Yeah. So she does follow Vi's plan, whatever Vi's intentions were. But yeah, she already trusted Vi enough. Yeah. And to be honest with you, it took a leap of trust for her to let Vi out even way before that.
It's true, though.
That was a huge leap of trust.
That's true.
Second leap of trust is parkour. Yeah. When she doesn't know how to. So and she tries. She tries anyway. She could have been like, whatever, I'm gonna take this down, but she listens to Vi. The Bathysphere.
She just throws them tickets. She could have taken it. She just...
But Vi said, oh, that's too visible or whatever it was she said. And so she decides to actually follow Vi, which is honestly, like, I don't know that I would have taken that leap of faith and been like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna parkour my way down here. I probably still would have taken it and just, like, look for her once I got down. Especially because it was clear Caitlyn didn't know what she was doing, just like I wouldn't have.
Yeah. She tried though.
Yeah, she did try. So she took a lot of leaps of faith on Vi, which some of them were ones that paid off. Some of them were ones that didn't pay off. But yeah, I think the whole way she did take those leaps of faith.
And she did. She didn't have to. She did.
Yeah. So yeah, that trust that they have between each other is definitely an asset when you're going into those kind of situations to know, like, this partner's got my back. They have my best intentions in mind. That's huge.
Definitely.
The next thing we have is her impulsiveness moves her forward, and Kate's long-range fighting skills saves her arse. You read it that way.
You can say whatever you want. I like type in it. That's all.
Arse. Is that a New England thing?
No.
That's an old England thing, huh? So yeah, obviously this does tie back a lot to Caitlyn being more of a planner, but it also has to do with, in general, Vi having those short-range abilities, which I do think it takes a lot more impulsiveness to be engaging in that closer combat.
Oh yeah, there's more chances that something could go wrong. You're, like, right up to this person. You know, if something goes wrong when Caitlyn's sniping, you know, she's a distance away. So yeah. But Vi's got that personality, though.
She's not afraid to, like, get up.
She's not. I mean, remember when she was a teenager and that guy had a knife?
Yeah.
You want to see where this goes? It's like, damn.
She didn't even, like, have.
She didn't flinch.
It's, like, right in front of her face. Like, that guy could have cut up her face real good.
He didn't. He's like, He's
yeah.
like, nope.
Yeah. So she's she's better at, like, getting up, getting in there, getting it handled, and getting it done quickly. And I think her impulsiveness lends to that. Yeah. To that fast movement. Whereas Caitlyn. That's why Caitlyn ends up being the one who saves her. Because Vi's like, I'm gonna be impulsive and get in there. And then Caitlyn is like the freaking superhero of those. She reminds me a lot of like of a Superman like kind of person.
Yeah, she's got those traits for sure.
Little Clark Kent, little nerdy.
Yeah.
But like swoops in and saves the day.
Yeah, pretty much. She just has like no scope on her sniper. It's just like, oh man, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, she comes in and saves Vi a multitude of times.
Yeah, they save each other.
But mainly she saves Vi.
She does.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. What else do we have? Then they share goals and genuinely care about helping others, including making life better for those in need. And I think this is really what brings them together in general. It's like this shared goal, this shared purpose. It's not like they're using each other, even though in some ways they utilize each other's skills. But really in the end, especially like as their relationship develops, it's really about the fact that they have the same goal. Like when they go address the council, they're both trying to make things better.
Yeah, to all credit to Vi, she does try, you know.
She tries it not aristocratic, but like maybe bureaucratic way.
She really does try. She holds herself as much as she can, and then
yeah, maybe a little bit, so you don't wiggle this.
Oh yeah, it's not so great.
Yeah, it's not so great. Don't worry, I'll save you.
Oh, okay. Save me.
I'll make a plan and save you. All right, so anything else you wanted to add about them having those shared goals? I think it's like definitely in some ways more personal to Vi, because it's like, you know, that's where she grew up. The people that they want to help are people that she's grown up with and has a nostalgia tied to them. However, Caitlyn, I feel like it's also, in a way, like, her life's mission.
Oh my gosh. It's definitely her life's mission. I mean, you know, she just wants to do good by no matters on. Piltover doesn't matter. She just wants to do good. That's what's awesome about her. What I think is interesting about Vi, though, she's in Stillwater for so long. And she just still has, like, that same caring attitude when she was a teenager. Yeah. You go to a place like that, you think it's going to be beaten out of them. But she doesn't lose her spirit, which I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah. She's very strong-willed. Yeah. And also Vander, you know, he gave his words of wisdom to her to keep her good heart and not let the world change it.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what he said. It sounded much better when he said it, but he's like, you've got a good heart, Vi.
You've got a good heart.
Ignore my bad accent. No matter how the world tries to change you. Something like that. I don't remember.
He tells her it doesn't get easier. Yeah, when she's like knocked on the floor like this.
Aw, that's like imaginary him though.
I know.
Like callback.
I know. Vander was good dad.
Yeah, he was.
He was.
Papa Van Van.
You got Papa Sil, now you got Papa Van Van.
Papa Sil and Papa Van Van.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So,
alright, let's see. Moving on here.
Yeah. And then there's the fact that they are both just generally honest, especially later on.
Yeah.
There's this kind of shared honesty between them. Where, like, you know, Vi starts opening up, and you can tell she wouldn't just talk about her time with Powder and those things that she keeps very close to her heart with anyone. She must really trust Caitlyn and value her to be willing to share those really close to her memories.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, something like that is extremely painful, you know, and for her to actually open up and share was just like, wow, that's really big.
Yeah. All right. So next we're going to talk about them as romantic partners. Oh my god. That was unplanned.
Okay, let's see here. Caitlyn being more sheltered, and Vi knowing the ways of the world that Caitlyn wants to see, being the Undercity.
Yeah. So obviously, like in the beginning of the show, not the beginning of the show, it was the beginning of Act 2, you see Caitlyn being assigned to basically security duty, and she wants to be out there solving cases and making a difference, and she keeps getting treated with baby gloves. She keeps her kid gloves, I guess it was.
Yeah. Baby gloves, kid
baby
gloves. Baby gloves.
Baby mittens. She gets treated with baby mittens.
I mean, yeah.
And she was like, how did my mom assign me to this party? And it's clear though, they show you right off the bat when Jace comes over and starts messing with her. She like grabs his arm and has him like in some kind of lock real fast. Yeah. So you can tell that she has a lot of ability. And then right after that, you see her wander off and she starts visualizing what all went down. And we're both like,
that was so cool. Yeah. When she's like this and you just see the imagery of what actually happened.
And she sees it in her mind.
It's crazy awesome.
Yeah, it's clear that she really has a genuine knack and ability to be solving crime and to be figuring out what happened. Yeah. And that she, like, that's what she wants to be doing. And
even though everyone's just kind of like, no, just be on this guard duty. No, just go attend this party for security. You know?
She says, like, my mom doesn't want me to see the real world or something like that. They don't want me to see the real world. Yeah. And so to her, like, the real world being what's really going on. Yeah. Like, what's the truth of how all this works? Yeah. What's the truth of how our whole society functions and is and what's happening in the world? So she's been sheltered in spite of her wishes.
Oh, definitely.
And to meet someone like Vi, who shows her what the real world is like and tells her how it is and just, like, puts it out in her face like that, I think she falls instantly in love with her. Because she's like, wow, you're being straightforward with me and no one else is. You're telling me what's actually happening and what's the truth when no one else is. And not trying to, like, hold her back or keep her from it. I think she really values that until later when there's the breakup scene. Yeah. But, you know, for most of their time of working together, they have that dynamic of Vi showing Caitlyn, here's how it is, here's the truth, and Vi being pleasantly surprised at how much Caitlyn actually wants to see it, and a step further wants to do something about it.
Actually wants to do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one big thing that they have romantically is just, like, in general, being good, caring people. That's one of the things I like about you, too. That's something I love about you. Aww. So sweet. Right, though? You're like, hey, my partner's, like, a genuinely good person. Yeah. And is gonna be straight up with me. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is good.
We did that, too, in our relationship. We had some honest moments early. We were just like, hey, this is how I'm feeling about this. This is what it seems like you're doing, like, and sometimes it was tough, but I was like, it's worth it. I feel like that's what makes a good relationship. Yeah, absolutely. Is not keeping your feelings and ideas in, but actually sharing them with a person and knowing that they're willing to listen to you and talk it through with you. Yeah. Do you want to read the next one?
Let's see. They both are self-sacrificing in their care for those important to them. Absolutely.
And I feel like that's so romantic. You know, being like, oh, but I would give all this up for you. Yeah. It's real sweet.
Yeah, it is really sweet.
You see, Caitlyn, we're going to make a whole video about this someday. Caitlyn. About all the times that Caitlyn self-sacrifices for Vi. Yeah, she does so many times, and it's really romantic. I find Caitlyn just really chivalrous. Yeah. That's why I feel like she's just, like, such a knight in shining armor. And I think a lot of people, because she has a more feminine appearance, they don't realize that. Yeah. I feel like she's definitely, her personality is, like, definitely a curious tomboy. Yeah. Who's willing to get in there, willing to do what it takes, and also really willing to put her own self and safety on the line to help others. That's why she's like Superman.
I mean, she's great. Even after the whole breakup scene, she's still willing to do anything she can, even though Vi's like, nah.
Yeah.
And she'll put herself out there, you know? She's like, I'll get hurt, whatever, but I'm still gonna put myself out there.
Yeah.
She's so sweet, little cupcake.
What did you say?
She's so sweet, cupcake.
Yeah. And then Vi, obviously, like, it's just kind of in her character. And from the very beginning, she's like, it doesn't matter, like, I grew up this way, like, it is what it is, but I want a better life for Powder.
Yeah.
So she is really just a part of who she is, to take care of other people. She's a leader, and she's plans in the beginning to turn herself in.
Yeah, she did.
In order to protect her family.
Yep. It's so interesting because Vander did everything he could to try to not have that happen, and then Micah still gets her anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, it's nice to see, though, someone who's that caring than to have someone care for them.
Yeah. That's a really big thing, I think, for Vi, too, because she's so used to being the person that's caring and looking after and taking care of and protecting. And you got Caitlyn, who's like the knight in shining armor, and just kind of like, what?
And one of my favorite scenes, too, is, oh yes, you know what I'm about to say, is the scene on the bridge where Marcus is he's like holding the gun in front of Caitlyn, pointing it at her, and Vi turns back and sees what's going on, and she just comes running, Caitlyn!
Yeah.
And it's just like that drama of seeing the person you care about so deeply in a dangerous situation and just running toward them, running into danger.
Yeah.
And calling their name.
Yeah.
That's when she starts to turn that to Caitlyn, that side of herself. Because before that, we did see, again, with now Jinx, when Jinx had a gun pointed at Vi, and Vi just like pushed out of the way. She's like, whatever. She's like, do whatever you want, like, but I'm still gonna come close to you. I'm still gonna be here for you.
Yeah.
And she's like not even fazed about her own life, but she wants to take care of her little sister's life. So at that point, it's not like, you can tell so much that she's like that with Powder / Jinx, but then at the bridge scene, you're like, oh, she's turned that same caring toward Caitlyn.
Yeah.
Which, how could she not? Caitlyn already, like, did so much for her. But yeah, they're both willing to sacrifice their own well-being for the other. And so it's what I think about that, though, is it shows that it's not one-sided.
Right.
And, like, so much of Vi's upbringing was, she was the leader. She had to take responsibility. Vander kind of put that on her.
He did.
That responsibility that when she was in charge of their little friend family, including Powder, that she was gonna have to also deal with the consequences of whatever happened that she told them to do. So she always had that in her, but then to see her turn that on for Caitlyn, it's just like, you could see that that they both are willing to do that for each other, and it's like, oh, it's so sweet.
And she just like takes her hands and she puts it up to her face, you know, making sure, as you said, her soul. She's looking for her soul.
Oh yeah, after she runs over to her. Yeah, she's like looking, like it looks like she's looking for something, but she takes her face like this, and she's like looking at her, like and to me it looks like she's like looking for her sweet precious soul and being like, are you still in there? Is the person that I care about still in there? And that was just, to me, one of the most powerful scenes.
Yeah, her face was just like Vi's face. It's just so much emotion.
Yeah. Getting like a little tear on his yeah, like, oh my gosh, it was so sweet and heartfelt. Really, it's very touching. So the next thing is that they both are strong in general and strong-willed.
Absolutely.
And I think that's real cool to see.
It is.
A couple who are both, I mean, it works out for them that their goals align too.
Yeah, true.
But they're both like, hey, I'm gonna do this. For Caitlyn, case in point, her even getting Vi out of prison, that took a lot of strength. First of all, it took a lot of strength for her to be like, oh, they tried to fire me from my job working as an enforcer, and yet I'm still gonna go keep investigating this. Then I'm gonna go to a prison to keep investigating this. And then a step further, I'm going to start interrogating this person who beat someone else up. And then even further, I'm going to, not above board, we expect, bust her out of here.
Yep.
Yeah. All of that took a lot of strength of will. Mm-hmm. But in general, they both like also look like muscular ladies. They look like they're like both strong. So it's cool to see two strong characters. And obviously Vi is strong.
Yeah, I mean.
Just like you were talking about, the inner strength that it took for her to be in Stillwater all of that time, but still have such a precious heart and still care about people.
Yeah, that most people would break in Stillwater, so.
Yeah, can't even imagine.
Yeah, especially that long time in there, too.
Yeah, They
learn from each other because they do have those differences.
Yeah. Case in point being the time that Vi punched through that that pillar and broke down the structure. Yeah, she learned from Caitlyn, and Caitlyn learned from Vi. Even when they were at the brothel, she starts acting like how Vi was acting, looking how Vi was looking, and carrying those qualities that Vi carried when she was talking to Caitlyn over to her conversation that she was having with the other lady.
Her body language, everything, the look in her eyes.
Yeah. And Vi, like, we do expect that she was teaching Caitlyn through a lot of the things that she was even being kind of sneaky about in the lanes. Like, when she was she was just kind of like poo-pooing her, like Caitlyn getting all upset and stuff like that. Why are we here? What are we doing here?
I'm so I can eat.
What?
She's there so she can eat.
Yeah.
Of course, that's just like her being, as you said, playing games with Caitlyn.
But I do think it's kind of both. It's kind of like she's also being like, hey, this is how we do things here.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, we just like come out to eat and also we do this. I think that there's a little bit of both in those situations.
Yeah.
But she definitely then, in the brothel, it kicks in full force that she starts teaching Caitlyn.
Yep.
Yeah. So they did, in general, learn from each other.
Yeah, they definitely did. It's so cool to see that too.
And they
don't
also
see that a lot of characters.
Yeah. And I even wondered, we were talking about this right before this video, if when Vi does come up with the plan to go and attack the shimmer factories, if she was already starting to think more like Caitlyn, because that plan is a good plan. And it seems like something that Caitlyn would have done, being more like strategic.
Yeah.
So I wonder if I started to like pick up on that and started using that ability.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. And then you do see at the very end, Caitlyn, when she thinks fast and gets out of her restraints.
My gosh.
Yeah.
I would love to have seen her actually get out. You get the broken glass, you get her reaching for it, and then she's got the gun, and I'm just like...
Yeah, in a way that was like a very Vi move.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
It was.
She's like tied up, finds her way out, combatively holds it up. Yeah, that was so badass. Oh, but I think that had some of the impulsive side that was impulsive. Picked up from... It was good. It was rocking, but like, I think could be some of the stuff that she picked up from Vi.
Yeah.
That tough side of just like getting in there and even Vi was like... it. She's like, I'm not sure if I'm impressed, turned on, scared. I think it was a mixture of all three. So you? Yeah. You're blushing, I think.
I'm laughing. I'm
blushing a little because I said it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're blushing for sure.
Just because you did first.
Okay, sure.
Oh, yeah. What else?
Let's see. And then we also have, they're both attractive and attracted to each other. Double my ears over here.
You have triple ears. You have like these ears.
Yeah.
These ears.
Yeah. Yeah, now I got bunny ears. Jeez.
Okay, what was it?
They're both attractive and attracted to each other.
Yeah. let's be honest, they're both hotties.
Yeah.
And they both can tell the other one's a hottie, and they both, like,
I mean,
have a lot of chemistry.
You don't do that to someone.
Do what?
Your hot cupcake. I mean, come on now. Get that close?
Nah.
Unless you're attracted to that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even Caitlyn, when she's, like, watching, kind of, you know, like, ooh, this is kind of interesting. What's she doing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is that, like, also, let's be honest, like, the way that Vi jokes with her, it reminds me of, like, a kindergarten boy playing with his crush, and I feel like a lot of, especially, like, young lesbians are like that. Like, I can think back to, like, some of my first girlfriends. Like, one of them kept tripping me all the time. She did! Every time I saw her, she would hook her heel in front of me, shove my shoulder, and I would trip and fall. So I feel like that's, you know, like, I feel like especially, like, young lesbians.
That's one way to make you fall for her.
You know, they have that kind of humor of where they're like, yeah, let me kind of piss you off, which she is doing. She's like, I'm gonna make you feel something. It might be a little riled, but I'm getting a rise out of you one way or the other.
Damn.
I feel like that's why Vi jokes with her like she does, because she wants to, like, get a rise out of Caitlyn.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
She wants to see what she can do with the Pilty. Come on.
Yeah.
She's just enforce her.
And then they have their couple arguments. We did a specific video about their main couple argument when they're both tied up. But yeah, they argue like a couple.
They do.
And but then as soon as one of them is in danger, they're like, all right, we're getting in there. We're going to get it taken care of. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty clear that they're attracted to each other in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And so that's one of the things I think that makes them a real cute, good couple.
Yeah.
It's just like, they care for each other and they're like, hey, and I feel like that's, you know, it's rare to find that.
Yeah.
To find that chemistry and caring in one person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's, like, the biggest thing that makes them such a good, not yet couple, but they pretty much are. Yeah, that Caitlyn is tall, that she's 6 feet tall. I feel like it makes her very, like, model-like, right? So you're like, oh my gosh, this tall, gorgeous model who, like, it's just, like, she just happens to have this gorgeous body, but also has this, like, she's personality. Yeah, that's, like, such a tomboy and just doesn't seem, like, I don't know if she's aware of how gorgeous she is. But yeah, I think it does make her model-like in that way.
Which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, they both have really great and very interesting, unique personalities. I think they're really well matched. And I like that they can grow from each other. I think that's huge, to be able to grow and learn from your partner. They both are getting a lot out of their relationship. So that's all I have to say. All right, well, thanks so much for listening to our thoughts and ideas. We have so much fun making these videos and sharing them with all of you. Looking forward to connecting with you all soon. Sending you so much love. Till next time.
Laters.